Hey guys, how's it going? Mark from Team Chronotech here, bringing you another how-to video. Today's how-to video topic is going to be about Mac OS commands and Windows commands. They're going to be some really basic commands, very simple to learn and use, but also very important. You'll use them most likely daily when you're in the field and probably already do. So let's just get right into it here. I have a bunch of terminal windows opened up that I'll be going through for the Mac side of these commands, and on the PC side I built a virtual box using Vagrant. Now I'm not going to go into too much detail on how I did that. I'm actually going to link a blog post by one of our team members, Chronotech24, wrote up for us on how to build that. So let's just get right into it here. I'm gonna dive in on the PC side first. So first command we're going to look at is the ping command. Basically this command says, hey, can I reach you? Can I get to you on the network? Now you can do this with either domain name or with IP. I'm going to do it with the domain name. So let's just go ahead and ping Google, see what happens. And we get a reply, which is good. Got a good connection here. So that only gave us 4 replies. Now what happens if we're troubleshooting, say, connection to the internet or connection to a printer internally, and we want to ping for an infinite amount of time? So we're gonna actually do the same command. We'll do a space and then -t, and what that'll do is sit here and ping this for an infinite amount of time until we tell it to stop. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop that here. So awesome, that's the ping command on the Windows side. Really straightforward, nothing too crazy about it. However, on the Mac side, you're going to see it function a little bit different. Same results as far as the information we're getting back, but a little bit different on how we can structure that, the ping. So we're going to go ahead and ping Google again. Awesome, we're getting results. We're about to hit number 4, and it keeps going. So as you can see, by default on the Mac side, the ping command is just going to keep pinging until we tell it to stop. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. So what if we want to only ping it for 4 times, or say 10 times? Really easy to do that. I'm going to pull up my notes here just to snag the command. So as you can see here, it's ping -c4, and the 4 represents how many times you want it to ping. So let's go ahead. I'm going to press the up arrow. We'll go over here. C-4. Make sure you have your space. And let's see how many times we get. Awesome, 4. Stopped at 4. So I'm not going to go too much into details on that. If you wanted to do 10, you can do 10. But the big thing to note here is that by default, if you want to ping a device on Mac, it's going to ping for an infinite amount. So if you want to set a certain amount, you have to do the -c and then whatever number you want, and then where you want to ping. Okay, so back on the PC side here, I'm going to close out of this window. Next, we're going to look into ipconfig. So ipconfig is super important. What it'll do is tell you a bunch of information about your device. It's going to tell you your IP address, your default gateway, and a couple other things. So I'm going to go ahead and run this command. Awesome. We get a return from our Ethernet adapter, and we see here IPv4 address. This is our IPv4, our subnet mask, our default gateway. So awesome, some really basic information, nothing too crazy. Now if we wanted to see a lot more, such as what's our DNS server, what's our DHCP server, we're going to do the same command, except we're going to do a space /all. And as you can see here, we see a lot more information. We are now seeing our DHCP server, we're seeing our DNS server. So I usually always do ipconfig /all unless I'm in a hurry and I just need to get the IP address of the device. So awesome, that is ipconfig on the PC side. Now let's look at what that looks like on the Mac side. This is the one that is going to look a lot different than what we're used to on the PC side if you're new to Mac or new to troubleshooting Macs. So one thing you'll notice, instead of ipconfig, it's ifconfig. I'm sure there's some reason why it's if. I don't know, but if you want to look up why it's if, you can. Anyway, so ifconfig. Now, right off the get-go, when you run this, you're going to be like, what is going on? What am I looking at? Now, I just ran the command and look at, to me, I want to see IPv4 addresses, and right here we get our IPv4, but it's buried in a bunch of other information. We get our net mask, we get our broadcast. Basically, it's helpful, but I feel like there's just too much information. Now, one thing that I do instead is I actually go through system preferences to look for the information that we were able to find on the PC side a lot easier. So to do that, we're going to go into system preferences, going to go into networking here. We want to go to advanced, and also make sure you're selected on the adapter you want to look at. I'm on my wireless here. And then we're going to go to TCP/IP, and right away we see our IPv4 address. Awesome. We see our subnet mask. We see our router, which is our gateway. Now, if we want to see, DNS, we can pull DNS up. A lot easier in my mind to look at this. Also it's in a GUI format as compared to doing ifconfig, and we just get a massive amount of information. So again, that is ipconfig and ifconfig on Mac. So let's go back to the PC side, and we're going to look at another command. Let's go to sorry about that. Let's go to flushdns. So flushdns is a really important command for troubleshooting, local DNS issues or public DNS issues on your computer. Once we run it, it's just kind of ran and done. You'll know it ran if you don't get any error messages back or anything like that. So let's go ahead and run it. Perfect. Successfully flushed the DNS resolver cache. So again, this is a very important tool for troubleshooting DNS issues. Maybe an internal DNS server changed and you need to flush your DNS, or maybe an external one changed and you're hitting a website incorrectly. Again, really simple command, but really important from a troubleshooting perspective. So let's take a look at what that looks like on the Mac side. Not as simple as ipconfig / flushdns. A little bit longer of a string needed, but what this will do is the same results. It'll flush the DNS cache and reset it. So one thing to note here is that it has the sudo, so we will need to enter our password here when we hit enter. So we go and hit enter in our password, and this is the password for the computer, and enter again. And perfect, we get a response back that macOS DNS cache has been reset. Okay, very simple. Again, just an awesome tool to have when troubleshooting DNS issues. So let's look into our next command. This is going to be the final one that we're going to talk about today. Next command is Nslookup. So what Nslookup is it basically will point to an IP address and give you its DNS name, or point to a DNS name and give you its IP address. So in this instance, we're looking up google.com. So what are we expecting in return? We're expecting an IP address in return. Now this can work internally and externally. Internally meaning inside your network, externally meaning outside in the web. So we have our command here, nslookup google.com. Awesome. We get first we get the IPv6 address, but next we get our IPv4. Very helpful tool to see what a DNS name is of maybe a public IP address that you have that you need to research, or an internal one that you have. Okay, whose computer is this? Let's do an NSLookup on it real quick. Or you do an NSLookup and you see multiple addresses or nothing returning, and you have an internal DNS problem. So let's see what that would look like now if we want to do, say, let's just do an NSLookup of Google's DNS servers. Perfect. So we get the response back here, and it tells us what it is. It's Google's DNS server. Awesome. So that's what it looks like on the PC side. Again, this is our last command we're going to look at. So let's see what that looks like on the Mac side. So here's one that, we've seen some variances in what the commands look like on PC and Windows side, and here's a command that actually is the exact same thing on the Mac side. So again, we are just typing in nslookup space google.com. Let's see what we get back, and we get pretty much the exact same thing here that we got on the PC side. So again, we are going to see what it looks like if we want to do an nslookup of an IP address, and awesome, it tells us the public. It tells us this is the DNS record for Google's public DNS server. Alright, so I know there's a lot of information, so much in this video to go over. I'm going to have links in the descriptions of the commands, and then a link to that blog post from Chronotech24 on how to set up a Vagrant box. But appreciate your time, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.